evening, you're watching Estuary News. Coming up tonight, we find out why local breweries want a slice of the growing export market. We ask people in Grimsby if they enjoy living in the town. And tonight's guest is Kelvin Dixon from Healthwatch North East Lincolnshire. Welcome to Estuary News. I'm Hugh Richards. Time now for the news headlines.
The Health and Wellbeing Collaborative team based in Grimsby is urging people to get tested for diabetes in a bid to save lives. The latest initiative being offered is pre-diabetes risk assessments, where people in the community can find out what the probability is of getting the disease. We spoke to Julie Hawkins, a diabetes nurse and educator.
Locally, our outreach project is we have a team of volunteers and we go out into the community and we identify people who are at risk of diabetes, because a lot of people don't know the risk factors. We use a questionnaire, it's a series of 7 questions, and we have a team of volunteers that go out and sort of find people at community events. We go to the market, Freshney Place, all different places.
A £10,000 reward is on offer for information leading to Shane O'Brien's arrest. The 27-year-old of Ladbroke Grove has links with the Ruislip area, but it's thought he now could be anywhere in the country. Humberside Police is appealing for information after extensive damage was caused to a vehicle in a suspected arson attack in Grimsby's Nunthorpe estate. The incident involving a blue Peugeot 307 estate happened in Winchester Avenue between 1:30am and 3:30am on Sunday. And the search is now on for 10 couples who will be trained by former world #1 dancers Keith and Judy Clifton to prepare for a Strictly Style contest in May. Well, all funds raised are going to St Andrew's Hospice in Grimsby, and the pair putting the couples through their paces are no strangers to the Strictly competition.
St Andrew's Hospice asked us if we would get involved in this Strictly dance experience, because obviously we have the contact through Joanne and Kevin and Karen into the Strictly programme. And of course Joanne is one of the ambassadors for St Andrew's Hospice.
Figures from the UK car market last week showed a record number of exports for companies like Jaguar and Land Rover. Trade experts say part of the reason for the record growth is a desire in emerging markets for famous British brands. And now one local brewery wants to expand its exports, as Dave Nunn went to find out.
Beer is enjoyed by millions of people around the world, but now, with the help of a local MP and UK trade and investment, a local brewery wants a slice of the ever-growing export market.
Well, I wanted to get together with local business and UKTI to talk about opportunities for export from the food and drink sector in particular, but to Latin America as well. And we've been discussing the opportunities, the work that UKTI does to support exporters, and the experience of Matthew and Great Newsom Brewery in developing its export business.
For the Great Newsom Brewery, it's all about capitalising on the growing success of British products abroad. The growing British economy, combined with a desire for British goods, has driven up exports for companies like Jaguar Land Rover, and the brewery hopes that's something it can replicate.
I think it's important that it's always been my reflection that we shouldn't have all eggs in one basket, and I don't think it's difficult for us in many respects to feel that we can't export. It's part of the cake, if you like, of the different areas, sectors that we can supply to, and I think export should be key and part of that. As you look at Jaguar Land Rover selling more vehicles abroad by some margin than they are in this country, then I would like to be in a position in the future that we supply not just one market abroad. It would be nice to have multiple ones and certainly grow to be a much more significant part of our business.
Breweries like Great Newsom and Atom Breweries, which we visited last year, depend on the help of the UK Trade and Investment Department. Its local representative says breweries in our region are growing at a fast rate, and expansion into new markets will aid economic growth in our area.
Well, we're working with Matthew to look at the Italian market, where he's well established, Falklands, Sweden and further abroad, and looking at the Latin American market. So we use the government funding, particularly for Yorkshire Lumber companies and through the Northern Powerhouse, to get our companies in front of buyers, to take them to the markets, to use the government funding to drive exports up. and exports are becoming a vital part of what our breweries are doing. Yorkshire and the Humber is well gifted with breweries. We have 17% of the breweries in the United Kingdom are based in our region, but those 17% brew 30% of the beer of the United Kingdom. So it's right that we should be helping our breweries abroad and making sure that we open doors for them and get our great Yorkshire beers worldwide.
Graham Stewart says he wants to see Great Newsome set an example to other small Yorkshire businesses.
We've got to trade our way in the world. If we want to maintain our standard of living, remain a rich, powerful, important and prosperous country, able to look after all our citizens, we've got to fight every day for our share of world markets. We can't be inward looking, we've got to be outward looking. And if here in Holderness are a small brewer, they're looking globally to export, it sets a brilliant example to others. And what government needs to do, what I need to do as a representative and everyone needs to do is support that, work for it, because it leads to jobs.
And if you have any news or sports stories for us, or you'd like to appear on our news sofa, you can get in touch with us by emailing news@estuary.tv or by calling us on 01472 315553. And my guest tonight comes from the local health charity Healthwatch North East Lincolnshire, which is aiming to help people lead healthier lives. And joining me from that organisation, Kelvin Dixon. Kelvin, thanks very much for coming in.
Hi there, thanks for having me.
It's late January and everybody's suffering from colds and flu and ailments, and it's just the most unhealthy time of the year, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is right now.
The great thing is not to suffer in silence, though, and your purpose, your organisation, is telling people where to go.
Yeah, I mean, Healthwatch are here to kind of, we're here as an independent champion for people who use health and social care services. So if they go to any of the usual services, so GPs, doctors, dentists, even adult social care pharmacies, if they use these services and they have a story to share, good or bad, we collect those and then we use those stories to go back and challenge issues. So if there's someone having problems with, say, communication with their doctors, we would listen to 2 or 3 people, figure out there's an issue there, and then escalate that with a GP and try and fix that. So we're really there to try and help local health and social care work as well as it possibly can. But a secondary thing we do is we're there for the community as someone to contact for signposting. So if they're confused where to go to get the healthcare they need, like, oh, I need a care home, where do I go for that? Or my parents now need care to come into their home, who do I contact? And we're there to sort of offer advice on who to go for that. So one of the things we've done is we've put this directory together of all the local health...
The Health and Social Care Signposting Directory.
That's the one, yep. And it's a hard copy, and it's in... it should be in all the doctors now, should be in all the GPs, should be in most pharmacies and all the care homes now. We also have them that people can phone us up and we'll send them out to people.
Okay.
And what it is, it has a hard copy of a full list of GPs, dentists, opticians, all those services you need, that it's right there. And realistically, we wanted to have a hard copy of this because there are so many people locally who don't have access to the internet or aren't sure where to go for this kind of information. So as well as having that hard list of GPs, doctors, surgeries, there's also information, like I said, about financial help to get care. What kind of care do you need? Is it better for people to come into your parents' home? Is it better for you to move to a home yourself? And these are just some basic questions that people often struggle with, and it's where do I go for those answers? And hopefully we've kind of covered the main pieces in here.
Well, you're right, because there is maybe a presumption that is wrong, that everybody has access to the internet and that everybody can get information off the internet, not necessarily a trustworthy source in its own right anyway. And to have the hard copy, whether or not you've got the internet, is a sort of a reassuring certainty, isn't it, of safety.
Yeah, it is as well. And the thing is, there's so many different organisations out there. So dentists do work closely with other parts of the NHS, but they're all sort of independent. So pulling that information together can often be hard, especially if you're looking to move to a home and tell your dentist and tell these people and all this different stuff. Does that make sense?
It is,
It's kind of nice to pull everything together into one place.
Problem is that sometimes, though, people find themselves that they can't get, for instance, dentistry especially. It's very difficult to get onto a dentist list. Easier perhaps to get onto a GP's list, although they're very overcrowded as well. What happens if the medical professionals just don't have space for you?
That's one of the things that we look into. In fact, last year we dealt with, we did a kind of mystery shopper on dentists that said they were open, and then phoned them up and found out the ones that actually weren't taking patients. Then we escalated that and we've talked to some dentists and we're looking at that's one of the issues we're trying to look at dealing with locally. And as far as for people who are struggling with that, what you can do in that instance is come to us, share that experience, tell us there's a problem, and then you can look at issuing a formal complaint. And we have an independent complaints advocate that are there to support people in the complaints process if they feel like they can't access the service they need or the service has let them down somehow.
There's more information in here as well than just a directory.
Yeah.
It does have sensible advice, like which sorts of conditions justify going to a professional. Well, you know, you're not going to go to the doctors just with a snivel. I notice that the advice for a hangover here is just drink lots of water.
I mean, as always, as well as being there to sort of help people share their experience with the NHS, we want to help protect the NHS, and everyone's hearing about how stretched they are, and you don't want everyone's got to do you
don't want vexatious patients, is it?
That's it. We've got to do as much as we can to sort of realise this is something we can treat at home, this is something we do need to escalate, and there's a simple kind of step-by-step instruction on what point in time.
I'll have to stop you there, but we'll talk a little more about this after the break.
No problem.
Join us after the break when the people of Grimsby will share their views on whether the town is a good place to live, and Erica Barker brings you all the regional headlines. Welcome back, you're watching Estuary News. Still to come, we ask the people of Grimsby how much they enjoy living in their town, and we'll have all the latest sports news. My guest Kelvin Dixon is still with me from Healthwatch North East Lincolnshire.
Healthwatch North East Lincolnshire, yep.
One of the things you mentioned there as one of your roles is to get people together to talk about their experiences of the healthcare services around here and share their stories, good or bad, presumably, about that. How useful is that? What sort of fruitfulness does that have?
It's incredibly fruitful because the places where you can see that there's gaps in care or that the care is going really well come directly from people telling us about that. And really what we do is we make sure that the voice of the people of Grimsby, Cleethorpes, Immingham, of North East Lincolnshire's heard. So when people come to us, like I said, we look for trends, so we say there's an issue here, there's an issue there, and then we escalate those trends with the individual service provider. So we go to the hospital and say, oh, people have been talking to us about this. Is this something that we can look at fixing? We can look at plugging this gap and making the service run better. We go to doctors and dentists and say, there's a problem here, can we look at fixing this? And we are kind of tackling those issues one at a time by hearing directly from the people of North East Lincolnshire.
Well, it is specifically to the borough or to the region of North East Lincolnshire. Is there any particular problem, unlike the rest of the country? Does North East Lincolnshire have its own characteristic issues?
Not that I can think offhand. No, you tend to find the same kind of small problems here and there. I mean, it tends to be a variety of things that affect different areas. Any kind of like full healthcare system like this is going to have small issues.
And the NHS always in the news, of course, always in the news issue, the recent junior doctors strike, although it's junior doctors, it goes up to really quite senior people, I notice, but those sorts of things, it becomes very quickly political, doesn't it?
It can do, yeah, I suppose, yeah, it can do, yeah. I mean, like I said, as Healthwatch, we are there for the good and the bad, so we're there to kind of praise as much as we are there to say anything's a problem. Yeah. So yeah, there can be political issues there, but being independent, it's our focus to make sure we reflect what the people of North East Lincolnshire say and the issues they're having, if that makes sense.
You've got an event coming up in the summer, which might be worth mentioning now. This is the Health Action Week, which will be going on from the 13th to the 17th of June, which seems a long time in advance, but it's a good idea if people know about that, if they want to get involved. What will be happening that week?
Well, Health Action Week is really about us celebrating like local healthcare. So as well as always saying, oh, there's things that need to change or we need to work together to make it better, we need to remember that so much happens that works well here. So much is fantastic and brilliant about the healthcare that happens in North East Lincolnshire day to day. And that's what this week is for. So we're looking for local charities, local groups, local other services for us to go and visit and chat to people and kind of get their experiences. So we're looking for people to be a part of that with us.
Okay, and does it have to be groups or can individuals come along?
Individuals can come along. Right now we're looking at organising it still. But yeah, at the time, individuals can come along. It's open to all the public, to different places. If they look on our website, Healthwatch North East Lincolnshire grimsby.co.uk, I think.
Yes, I'll check that for you. Yep, that's it.
If you look on our website, information will be kept up to date all the time, and we like to keep rolling news feeds on there. So nearer sort of April, May, you'll get more information coming up.
And how can people contact you just generally? I mean, you've got a number which I'll read out, 01472 361 459. People welcome to contact you just with whatever their experiences of healthcare in North East Lincolnshire?
We're looking for people to share their stories, good or bad, and if they have issues or they need direction in a different way or signposting, come talk to us and we should be able to help them find other services.
Brilliant. Kelvin, thank you so much for coming along.
Thank you.
Good luck with those events.
Yeah, thank you.
Since Skint was filmed in Grimsby, and since the Sacha Baron Cohen film Grimsby might be a little mocking, the town has topped many of the worst place to visit lists and the worst place to live lists. We took to the streets of Grimsby to see if the people of the town think that Grimsby really is grim.
Well, I've been in Grimsby about 3 years. I moved up from the south of England and I really love it. I think the people are friendly. I think there's a great sense of community and there's lots of facilities here. So I thoroughly enjoy Grimsby. I recommend anyone to move here.
It's not too bad. It's just been here all my life, so home's home, innit?
That's great. Do you think sometimes it gets a bad reputation in the media?
Yeah, in some areas. Yeah, it does, but there's a lot of nice places around here, decent places. It's just one's what I've always been the same for years. So
I've lived here all my life. Yeah, we could do a lot more better with it, but I resented that broke Grimsby because I don't think we are. Just a lot of people live on the estate now. They find it easy to do that than go out and find work.
It's a nice little town, really. Quite a good community spirit. You get good and bad in every part of the country. But certainly Grimsby's got a lot going for it, more than not going for it.
I think so. I've lived all my life, so I'm happy with it. I know it's got its faults, but everywhere has, hasn't it?
Joining me now on the sofa to talk through what's been happening in the region's headlines, Erica Barker. Erica, what have you got?
Hi, Hugh. Well, it says in the Grimsby Telegraph that more than 11 violent incidents are reported every day in North East Lincolnshire. They say that they've seen statistics today that confirm this, and they saw a massive 24% increase in violent crime during the whole of 2015.
Well, that's not very helpful, what we've just heard about from the people of Grimsby and the impression that Grimsby gives to the rest of the country. It doesn't help, does it, when when it seems to be so unreasonably violent?
No, I mean, I don't have any confirmation on these figures, but they are reported in the Grimsby Telegraph, so they'll have got them from a reputable place, I'm sure. So not brilliant news there, I wouldn't suggest.
No. Okay.
Hull museums should open until 10 p.m. to help the city centre thrive. This is according to Councillor Terry Geraghty, Chairman of Hull City of Culture, Chairman of Hull Culture and Leisure. So this is ahead of City of Culture in 2017. He's saying, if we can make museums open until 10 o'clock, more people are going to be attracted, and we need to.
It seems extremely sensible to me. You can't go to a museum when you're at work. Most of us are in a working day between 9 and 5 every weekday. Yeah. And you need the museums to be available to you at the time when you're not busy.
And the museums in Hull are fantastic as well. They've got so many fantastic museums, and it's a shame that people can't get to them.
They are fantastic. And the is it the Ferrens Gallery?
Yeah, got the Ferrens Gallery.
That is one of the great galleries of the country, isn't it? Yeah, and much under-recognised,
and
I
that's
think.
been undergoing renovations as well, and improvements. So now, hopefully good news for museums in Hull.
And for museum goers, yes.
Yeah, museum goers. This is with the works that are going ahead for City of Culture on the marina. A business is saying that they're losing up to £3,000 a week in lost trade. This is a Green Bricks pub that I used to work in.
Right.
Many a year ago, I used to work at that pub. It's a fantastic pub, beautiful marina. Works are going on. You've got your Humber Street there, the fruit market. Renovations and building work are taking place. He's saying that he's losing business, which is a massive shame, I suppose, for businesses down there. But hopefully, look into the future. The works that are going on are going to help encourage more people in the future. So maybe it's looking ahead.
So it's sort of temporary loss for future advantage.
But currently, I suppose, not good for them.
You enjoyed pulling pints, did you?
I didn't mind it.
It's not such a ridiculous question.
I didn't mind it. No, it was a lovely pub. No, yeah. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. But no, I didn't mind it at all. And this is an awful story, actually. This is the 3 whales that were washed up on Skegness Beach. It's been reported that somebody is trying to remove the teeth from one of the whales. and that there's been reports of people cutting off pieces of the carcass as well. Just awful. And within the Grimsby Telegraph there's a couple of pictures as well. It's just so sad. And then they're saying that they were vandalising them as well. Just don't bear thinking about it.
Not very safe, because that rotting flesh is not going to be a particularly safe environment to be around.
No.
Apparently the bodies of the whales build up, this is awful to say, but they build up all sorts of quite explosive gases. People stealing their teeth, I guess, for scrimshaw to carve into something, into that ancient sort of sailor's artwork of scrimshaw, but still absolutely vile behaviour.
Just awful.
Yes, and I think a fourth whale has washed up elsewhere on the Lincolnshire beach as well, since those three were found in Skegness. Absolutely tragic, poor things. And let's face it, they're probably cleverer than us.
Yeah.
Erica, thank you very much on that rather sad note.
I know.
Time now for the latest sports.
Hull KR's head coach Chris Chester gave his reaction to the club's official site following their defeat to Hull FC in the pre-season derby for the Clive Sullivan Trophy. The Robins were overrun by a more powerful Hull side at the KC Stadium as they went down to a 60-20 scoreline. While Chester says they started the game well for the first 15 minutes and ended the game okay, but the 40 minutes in between just wasn't good enough and that they couldn't handle the players in the middle. While tickets for Hull FC's opening game of the 2016 Super League season against Stratford Red Devils are now on sale to all supporters. The Black and Whites take on Ian Watson's men in round one of the new campaign at the KC Stadium on Friday the 5th of February. Kick-off is at 8 p.m. And Grimsby Town face Gateshead on Saturday with a kick-off at 3 p.m. at the 11,800 capacity all-seater International Stadium. And how would you like to try your hand at management at Blundell Park in the upcoming Chairman's Challenge fixture on Sunday, February the 28th. The winner will be in the dugout against the Legends team, accompanied by a current Grimsby Town first team player as their assistant manager. You can contact the club for further details. And Scunthorpe United's development game against Rotherham United, scheduled for January the 26th, will now take place at Glanford Park. Kick-off is at 7 p.m. and the main stand will be open for the game. Admission is free. Well, that is the latest for the sport.
That's it for tonight. If you have a news story for us, then please visit our Facebook or Twitter pages or email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 01472 31 553. Until tomorrow, good evening.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV weather. On Wednesday, expect heavy rain with some very gusty winds crossing through the region. Meanwhile, on Thursday we are expecting a cold start and as a result some morning frost with some rain.